welcome to Horse Illustrated's webinar series. My name is Mary Cage. I am the digital manager here at Horse Illustrated. And of course, our special guest this month is Esme Higgs, or as you may know her, this Esme. She is an equestrian social media star known by her millions of fans as this Esme. And, with her content, she shares all things equestrian, ranging from riding to horse welfare, among other topics and interests. And, with her videos and her content, she has garnered the adoration of more than 2 million followers across all of her social channels. So, Esme, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to have a bit of a chat with all of you, answer some questions. Also, just a little heads up, our Wi-Fi, because I do live in the middle of nowhere, where it's on a satellite. So every now and again, hopefully it won't happen, but if I suddenly disappear for a few seconds, that's because the satellite is going from one side of the world to the other. So just a heads up, if I do disappear, don't worry, I will be back very, very soon. So anyway, yeah, very excited. Thank you so much for having me. Very, very honored.
Absolutely. We're so thrilled to have you. We know our audience absolutely loves you. And so it's going to be a great chat. And I always like to start these by asking if you can tell us how you very first fell in love with horses.
So I've always been very lucky to live in the countryside in the middle of nowhere. I grew up on a little cottage with a bit of land. Now, the funny story is that when my parents bought the house, it actually kind of sort of came with some donkeys. So my family are not horsey at all, didn't know anything about how to care for donkeys, that kind of thing. The previous owners actually abandoned the donkeys and just left them there. So my parents are obviously like, we need to learn how to look after these donkeys. So I guess from a very young age, I grew up with 3 donkeys as kind of like my first pets. But yeah, parents didn't know anything about horses, and the local stables or riding school used to ride past our house. So from a young age, I would like ask for horse riding lessons or ask to do stuff with horses. And then it was a friend's 5th birthday party that I got to ride horses for the first time, because my parents always came up with some sort of excuse that I was too young or too short or that kind of thing. And then after that, they were like, okay, we'll get you some lessons, thinking it was going to be like kind of like a phase. And then did lots of lessons for quite a few years at the local riding stables, had a few different lease or loan ponies, and then was very, very lucky to get my first pony, Mickey, at the age of 8.
That's
So,
awesome. Yeah, I like how donkeys were your introduction, and I know you've continued to love them throughout your life. But yeah, it's one of those things, as we all know who love horses, once it gets a hold of you, there's no getting rid of that love
oh,
for
definitely, like the
horses.
pony bug is real. That's a little phrase that we
Yes.
have. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then how did that love for horses transition and kind of evolve into what is now a full-time social media career?
Oh goodness, it all sort of happened by accident, really. When I first started, I had no mission or no ambition to ever this become my job. I honestly just posted videos onto YouTube kind of for myself as a video diary. So when I was 12, I got my second pony, Casper, who was very young, very green, very inexperienced. And let's just say we've had a big journey over the years, and he's amazing now. But when we first got him, there were a lot of things that we had to work on. And for me, I actually first started uploading videos to YouTube kind of our progress, because I had a not very good phone at the time, and I would use YouTube kind of as basically free storage for my videos. So that's how I started uploading them. It was also nice because it meant that my friends and family who lived far away could see what I was getting up to with the ponies. So yeah, I first started just basically just casual edits of me, like my show jumping rounds, that kind of thing, I would upload to YouTube. And then I really enjoyed kind of the editing and video process. I had so much fun, yeah, doing that. And I thought one summer, it was that kind of summer where in the UK, you kind of finish a lot of your exams or finish high school at 16 before you go off to sixth form college. So I had this one summer where I wasn't quite old enough to drive yet, and I was just at home with the horses, and I thought, you know what, I've had a lot of fun making these videos. How about I make a few that maybe will help people who can learn more about horses, because again, I grew up in a non-horsey family, and I know a lot of barns or stables, they only teach you how to ride a horse, not necessarily the care that is involved with owning a horse or looking after a horse. So I remember one of the first videos that I did that got people watching that wasn't my immediate friends and family was a tutorial on how to tack up a horse. And what I didn't realize back then, that was when YouTube was really pushing kind of tutorial style videos. I don't know if anybody remembers back in the day, like 5-minute crafts, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how my channel got onto the kind of algorithm and started pushing it to new people. So yeah, that summer I made lots of fun vlogs of the horses, just again for me to look back on, and then also some horse care videos that I thought might help some people learn more about horses. And then I was really lucky that by the time I kind of turned 18, finished education, it kind of, the channel grew to a stage where I was like, oh wow, I could maybe make a job out of this, not sure. So I was planning on going to university actually, but I thought I'll have a gap year, see if I can make this work, and was very, very lucky that that year I worked so hard, put a lot of effort into my channel, and it paid off. And I'm still pinch myself every day that I get to do this as a career and a job, as something that started off as a hobby and a passion of mine that I can now say is my career. So yeah, it's something that I never really expected to kind of become a career, just because when I first started, obviously there were a few people that were YouTubers and could make a job out of it, but nobody had ever done it in the equestrian sector before. And I never thought there were enough people that liked horses or would watch my channel to ever make it successful. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a great point. And I love that something that's become, like you said, your whole career now, something so big and wonderful, all started by accident, and
yeah.
that you took it and ran with it. And based off your own experiences, you're like, well, let me help some, other people out this way. And I think that's just a really great foundation to have started it on. And that just goes to show with the success that you've had. So obviously now that it's grown into this big thing, there is more that goes into your job beyond YouTube. Can you
Yeah.
kind of dive into all the different roles that being a full-time content creator has looked like for you?
Oh goodness, yes. I started, well, when I first started, I was 15, 16 at the time. So we're talking like 2016. So back then it was just YouTube and then like a little bit of Instagram. So this was before TikTok and all of that. And nowadays, if you work in social media, you kind of have to be on all the platforms. So of course I'm making reels, making TikToks, making YouTube long format videos still at least once a week. Sometimes do a little bonus one I do twice a week. I also have a podcast now that's hosted on Spotify that I've really been enjoying, where I kind of waffle away each week about what I've been up to. I also work with a lot of charities as well, such as World Horse Welfare, the Brook charity, the RDA. So I have a big passion for them and promoting the work that they do and spreading awareness. I also have a series of books as well that I published with Penguin, their children's books, and I've had so much fun writing those and hopefully inspiring the future generation of equestrians. I also am very, very lucky to have a series of sponsors and equestrian brands that I work with regularly, as well as working at lots of different international horse shows as well. So I'm quite busy here, there and everywhere as well with travel and horse shows, doing presenting and working with them. What else do I do? I feel like they're kind of like the main things, but of course, also all of this is a business, and I'm kind of running a business at the same time. So there's all the kind of admin, emails, and behind the scenes of running a business that goes into everything as well. And of course, the horses, like that, the main thing. How forget about them? Riding, exercising them, looking after them too.
Yeah, so there's clearly a lot more that goes into it than just recording and editing a video, and even editing. I don't think people realize how much time that can take in and of itself.
Yeah, at least a couple days to edit one video, and then so I probably put at least 70 hours a week into the channel and everything. So yeah, a lot of time and dedication goes into it. And I always say, or we always say to each other, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I think it's quite easy in social media to get burnt out, if that's creatively or just generally like exhaust yourself. So I always try and stick to a schedule that is manageable, but also you've got to keep on top of things, because as soon as you stop posting, then the algorithm does not like you. It likes to punish you if you can't take a break. So
sure. Would you say that the time and effort that goes into it is kind of a common misconception about being a full-time content creator? Are there any things that you run into that people maybe don't understand about this profession?
I think definitely there have been times where you've put so much effort and time into editing and filming a video, and then that week, for whatever reason, the video flops. It could be for, I don't know, something super random is, I know that when Love Island is on in the UK, a lot of people don't watch as much YouTube because they're watching TV. There could be lots of different reasons why a video doesn't do as well, and it's not necessarily to anything that you've done. It could be like an incredible video. So there's lots of different factors that go into it. I would say, like, obviously it depends. I think a lot of people, if I say I work in social media, they think I just post on TikTok every now and again and lie in bed all day, which
Right.
definitely isn't true with what I do. But yes, I think, although saying that, I've got some friends that don't work with horses, but they do work in social media. And I tell you what, working without horses sounds a lot easier. So
Certainly, yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And you've said before that you're actually or have been pretty shy in your real life. And so how has this career of being so front facing challenged you and perhaps even helped with that shyness?
So yeah, at school I was very shy. Anything public speaking, I absolutely hated. My worst nightmare was when, as a class, you would have to like read a book or read a passage out loud. Like that, would hate that. But
Mm.
yeah, I guess that I've been very lucky to kind of been thrown into the deep end in lots of different scenarios. So I remember my first ever public speaking that I did to do with social media in my career was the Pony Club conference in the UK. That was in 2017, and it was in front of 500 people, including Princess Anne as well. So it was literally in front of royalty. And I remember being so nervous beforehand. I was very, very lucky that my parents, they did some coaching with me. They were like helping me remember my speech. And I guess every time I do some sort of public appearance or public speaking, you just have to kind of fake it until you make it. I always feel like it's the run up beforehand that's often the worst, where I'm most nervous if that's like a red carpet event. But it's one of those things where if you act super shy or really nervous, then it just doesn't look good. You just have to go out there, be like, okay, let's go for it, pep yourself up, if that's with some music or whatever. And yeah, it's one of those things now that I've done so many different public speaking events or live Q&As or things like this that it just is second nature now. And I guess I've been doing this for almost 10 years, I want to say. So I do have a lot of practice. And if you do watch some of my older videos, you can see that I'm not as confident talking to the camera. I'm definitely a lot more shy. And even just in like the last couple of years, I've been thrown into content creator events where I've not known anybody and I've just had to go up to people and be like, hi, I'm Esme, nice to meet you. What sort of content do you make? And that kind of thing. And yeah, you just have to go for it, fake your confidence until you make it. And a lot of the time, a lot of people are pretending and you don't even know. So
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes being thrown into the deep end is what makes you really adapt. And yeah, you definitely have grown. And I think that goes for a lot of us. And like you said, with the lead up, you get so in your head. It's kind of like, at a horse show. Before going in to the ring, you're probably really up. But then once you're going, you're hopefully a little more focused on the
yeah.
moment. Yeah. And then of course, if you had to choose what would you say is your favorite part of your job?
Oh, I've got to say, just being with the horses every
Yeah.
day, like it is literally every equestrian's dream come true to be able to spend pretty much every single day working and being with your horses. But also another part that I would say is the charity work that I do. Um, for example, Duke is from World Horse Welfare. If it wasn't doing what I do with my job, then we wouldn't have him. I mean, probably wouldn't have Joey, to be honest, if it wasn't for doing this. So yeah, the charity work that I do has been so rewarding. And in the UK, we've had like laws changed, but we did like one of the coolest things I did was we did a horseback kind of protest all through London. So we went past like Hyde Park, Buckingham Palace, all the way to the Houses of Parliament, and we managed to get the Kept Animals Bill passed through, which is about illegally exporting horses for slaughter. So that has now gone through. So yeah, it's been amazing, not only being and working with horses, but also being able to change laws to help with horse welfare as well. And that's also thanks to all of you guys that have signed these petitions and managed to get these laws changed. So yeah, I would say definitely the charity work has been a big part. Also, I've done lots of fun things with the Riding for the Disabled Association as well. So I actually helped out at the Marvel superhero triathlon the other week, which was so much fun. So I talk all about that actually in this week's podcast episode, where I swam in a very cold lake in a wetsuit. So that was good fun as well, to raise money for the charity, because they do such incredible work as well. So yeah, I'd say being with horses every day, and then also the charity work, are probably my favorite things that I do with my career.
Yeah, absolutely. And what an amazing thing to be able to use your platform for that sort of impact and things that you're passionate about. But on the note of your horses, we have to talk about them, of course.
Yeah.
Obviously they've been a huge part of your journey, and they're such a huge thing for your fans. Like, your fans become so attached to your horses. And so what do you think it is about each one of your horses that really makes it easy for viewers to just really feel connected with them?
I think each horse, I mean, all horses have big personalities, but for some reason mine, they have a lot of character. So I think when you're watching, I think at least one of my horses that you can kind of resonate with. So Casper's the little bit more shy one. He's a little bit more introverted, when Joey is the one that's kind of has a huge personality. And then we have a little Duke as well, who's quite cheeky. So I think everyone can resonate with at least one of my horses. It's really funny, at my meet and greets, we've started doing this thing now where we have some stickers, and I feel like everyone kind of chooses the sticker with the horse on that they resonate the most with. So Duke, actually, he was most popular at my last meet and greet, so I'll keep you updated on who is going to be the most popular at my next one. But anyway, yes. And also, I think another thing, when I started my channel, I kind of accidentally realized that I was kind of like a role model. And I guess when I was growing up, people would often, like, equestrians would look up to Olympic riders as kind of their role models and that kind of thing. And I think the nice thing with my channel is I'm definitely no like Olympic rider. Like, I'm a pretty average kind of rider when it comes to the sport. But I think a lot of people, they just it's just that bit more accessible. I think a lot of people, they maybe dream of getting to the Olympics, but it's not necessarily achievable. But I think a lot of people, they dream of maybe just having riding lessons, or having a lesson pony or a lease pony, or maybe even getting their own pony one day. And I think that's definitely a little bit more relatable. So I guess, yeah, and also just I show the realities of what it's like owning horses, and I show every stable scene, every mucky pony, mucky stables. So yeah, there's that as well. And yeah, the horses having big personalities, that definitely helps.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, I think the relatability really is a huge part of it, because for most of us, we're not going to be at that top level. I mean, it's great to, aim for that and to look up to those individuals and horses. But for a lot of us, we just enjoy being around them. And that's what it's all about. So I think having someone like you, really helps them feel connected to both you and your horses. And kind of on the note of you saying you're just kind of a regular rider, can you talk a bit about the kind of riding that you enjoy most, and then maybe some particular riding goals that you may have?
So back in the day, I used to compete a lot in show jumping with my pony Casper, and then as exams and school got a bit more serious, I took a little break from competing and haven't really done too much since, if I'm completely honest, mainly due to a global pandemic, and then also my horse Joey having injuries. But we're back at it at the moment. We're doing lots of dressage lessons, and we've been really focusing on our flat work and having a really good foundation with that, and he's been doing really, really well. We've actually been trying, and we do have a lesson this week, in working equitation, which is a discipline that I'm pretty sure originates from Portugal, which not many people know about, but I've been having really good fun with Joey doing that. The aim is to get him back show jumping hopefully soon, and now he's feeling a lot better, which is great. But for me personally, I would say my favorite type of riding at the moment is probably like hacking or trail riding. We're really lucky where we are that we kind of have lots of different trails that we can go across, so we're not too far away from the beach. So I love taking my horses to the beach, especially for like, you can go for like a proper blast and a gallop along there. We also have some really nice woods where we are, which I like taking them to, and on the hills as well, which is lovely for a gallop. So yeah, especially as a lot of my job, I always kind of say to people, a lot of my job, I'm competing every single day, and that's with everybody else on social media for
Yeah.
views in that sense. So I kind of get my competing kind of fix then. But also a lot of the time, like I struggle to compete just because a lot of the time at weekends, I'm working at horse shows, if that's doing presenting or meet and greets and that kind of thing. So for me personally, I do quite like, because so much of social media and horses for me is a job, I quite like to kind of keep me and my horses. Obviously, I'm always trying to improve as a rider. I'm still having lessons. I'm still working on that. But for me, when it comes to competing, it's not like my top priority at the moment. So
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's a really great approach because, like you said, you have enough going on when it comes to your
yeah,
career, even still related to horses. And at the end of the day, just riding and being with them, like we talked about, is what it's all about. So I really like
definitely.
that approach, and it just lets you connect with them. And yeah, like you said, probably get away from all the chaos that you kind of get involved in. That's just
Yeah.
part of the job. But you talked about how you spend so much time at these big events and things like that, whether it's this media or meet and greets. Can you talk a bit about what it's like to get to experience the top level and kind of get an inside look at those events?
So I remember my first few events, I had real imposter syndrome. So I think I was about, yeah, 16 or 17, the first couple of ones that I worked at. And I remember walking into the media center and there being all these guys with massive cameras that were taking photos also at the Olympics and all these other big events. And I was just there like, hi, I have a social media account kind of thing, like very imposter syndrome. And also when it came to kind of interviewing all these riders as well, like I was like a little bit starstruck to start with some of them. So but yeah, very, very grateful for every single opportunity and show I've been to. I think actually I think Kentucky this year was my 100th international event, which is
Wow.
wild to say. I've been doing it that long and I've got up to 100 now, which is wild. But yeah, had so much fun. And now for me, it's like second nature. I go into the media
Sure.
center, I know everybody in there. I'm like, oh hey, like you at this one next week, like that kind of thing. And it's actually interesting how much kind of media has changed within the horse world as well, just in the last 10 years. Because as I said before, when I first walked in, it was photographers taking photos, when now so many people had switched to video because of social media and reels and that kind of thing. So yeah, I feel very grateful to have made so many connections in the equestrian world and be able to interview so many incredible and inspiring riders. So yeah, feel very, very grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. And in addition to getting to attend such top level events like that, you've had your own pretty amazing, experiences internationally, riding in various different parts of the world. I know it's hard to choose, especially considering you just said you hit your 100th top level event this year. But what are some of the highlights of the places that horses and with that social media have taken you?
Oh, I might say a couple if that's okay.
That's
So
totally fine.
I've got to say the horseback safari that I did in Botswana, that was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done, to be able to ride on horseback with and see zebras, giraffe, a lion at one stage, which was pretty
Wow.
cool, a cheetah, hyenas, elephants. Oh my gosh, there were so many baby elephants. That was probably, yeah, one of the most magical experiences ever. One of the funny stories that I have from that trip, which I don't know how much I talked about in the video, but we were sleeping under the stars one evening, and I felt this kind of what I thought was rain. It was not raining. I looked up the tree above us. There was a monkey. So
Oh my
a
goodness.
monkey went to the toilet above me in the tree. So that was a little bit of a yeah, added present on that trip
Sure,
anyway.
sure.
But that was good fun. Also, one of the other like coolest experiences that I've been able to do with my job probably has to be, we did some filming for to promote the new season of House of the Dragon, which is the Game of Thrones spin-off with Sky and HBO, and that was absolutely incredible. Like getting dressed up in all of the warrior gear, the makeup. The horse I was on was probably the most incredible horse I've ever ridden. His name was Bro, and which was also a very cool name. But he was a stunt horse. So at
Mm.
one stage, I was on this horse and I was holding a sword that was literally on fire. There was a whole guy there and his whole job was just fire. So he had this sword that he would pour like paraffin on, set it on fire. He did like a little shake to make sure that I wasn't holding the sword, and then paraffin would drip down my arm and then I would set on fire. So
Sure.
anyway, like shaking it around and that kind of, and this horse was just so chilled. It was just like, this is just my normal Tuesday afternoon. Anyway, so I was riding along with the sword on fire, and then we also did another video and took some photos of me with a bow and arrow, and the bow and arrow was, well, the arrow was also on fire. So I would say that's probably one of the coolest things I've done. I guess with my job, a lot of the time I just have to have that kind of confidence to be able to get on a horse I don't know, try something new. And one of the things I'm so grateful for that I've had so much fun doing is just being able to try so many different equestrian disciplines. So I also had a lot of fun doing jousting as well, which is very different. So yeah, proper medieval, all the gear, like the armor, everything. That was very different to what I'm used to, but that was also a lot of fun.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like you've gotten to experience such a wide variety of things, and which is one of the great things about the horse world as a whole. There's so many different disciplines and different places that the horses can take you. So that's really amazing. We touched on this a bit about how you are very passionate about equine welfare, and of course, you rehomed Duke from World Horse Fair or Horse Welfare, and you're a patron of them as well. So, can you talk a bit about what it means to you to, make those efforts with welfare and how others maybe can get involved as well?
So one thing that I always say to people when they ask, how can I get involved with some of the charities that I work with, is if you have the time, please, please volunteer. A lot of these, and it doesn't just have to be the charities that I work with. I'm sure that there are so many different equine charities out there, and they're always looking for volunteers. If that's just helping out with making hay nets or mucking out or poo picking or that kind of stuff, or grooming, there are so many charities out there. Also the RDA, I know that they're always looking for volunteers to help out, if it's leading ponies or looking after the ponies at the RDA centres. So I would say, if you can, please volunteer. Obviously all these charities also, money they would very much appreciate, and donations they appreciate, because that is how they stay open. So yeah, and also if you do ever have the opportunity to rehome a rescue pony or rescue horse, I would really, really recommend it. One of the best things I've ever done was rehoming Duke, and I'm sure I will definitely rehome more horses in the future from World Horse Welfare. But yeah, they're the two things that I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think it's wonderful that you're such a huge proponent for that. And, the various charity work that you talked about that you do, because obviously with your, large following and influence, that comes with a lot of responsibility. And, that's a big part of it, this charity work that you do. But, we kind of have to talk about too, you have such a young audience, especially following you. And so what is it kind of like to handle that responsibility?
I remember the first time it kind of really hit me, because I started off doing social media at quite a young age, at like 15, 16. And I remember getting this email through from a family actually in the States, and they said to me, "Hey, Esme, we've been really loving watching your videos. We've actually made a big move." Now, they were saying how they before lived in the city, they didn't know anything about horses, and after watching my videos, it inspired them, and they sold up their whole property, moved out into the countryside. I've got a horse ranch now. Each family member have their own horses and that kind of thing. And I kind of thought, oh my goodness, like I have kind of like changed these people's lives. Like, yeah. I hope they know how to look after the horses and they're all good. And like, I hope, they've made the right decision. And it really kind of shocked me. And I guess, always from the start, I've made my videos accessible to people of all different ages. So I always say you can watch my videos if you're 8 or even if you're 80. So of course I make everything family friendly and wholesome, but at the end of the day, as I said before, I spend a lot of time editing, and I want to edit videos that I'm passionate about and things that I'm interested in. And so yeah, I always say, if I've got to be interested in the video, but also they've got to be interesting for people of all ages, because at the end of the day, my dream is to try and make horse riding as a sport more accessible to everybody. So yeah, I get quite a few messages actually from people that may be in their 60s, 70s, or even 80s saying that when I was younger, I used to ride horses. I can't now for whatever reason, but I love watching your videos to kind of keep in touch with my inner horse girl, which I absolutely love. So yes, I always try and whatever I'm doing, make sure that we always have like a phrase whenever we're filming, and it's always horse first. Like sometimes we'll be, I don't know, having a photo shoot for a brand, and if the horses, like if that day it's not their day, then that is totally fine. There's always tomorrow. And at the end of the day, we always make sure that we put the horses first, because that is the top priority, content second. So I think that's also something really important as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But that's true about the wide range of audience that you have. For those who don't know, we also have our magazine Young Writer, and we're Esme, the only North America merch line, and we'll have it at events. And I mean, yes, obviously the kids are always like, oh my gosh, you have Esme stuff, but we have plenty of adults that come in and talk about how much they love you and your content. So I think again, it goes back to the relatability of your content and your horses. So yeah.
Another thing that I just remembered while we're on the topic that I forgot to mention is whenever I'm kind of like filming, I always try and let people know, especially if people are new to horses and they've come across my channel, is the amount of time and money that goes into caring for a horse to give them a good quality of life. I feel like I try my very best to talk about all of that, like the care that they need, the expenses of them as well, because I think a lot of people, they jump into horses and they think, oh yeah, I want to own a horse, and actually when they know all the facts of what it's like to actually be a horse owner, they're like, oh okay, maybe this isn't for me. And I think whenever you buy any animal, if that's a horse, a dog, a cat, it's important that every owner knows the care that is needed and the funds that are needed to give the best life possible. So that's another little thing that I try and promote on my channel as well.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a great point, because there is so much responsibility that comes with caring for another living being, for sure. Yeah. So obviously you do so much with your career. We've talked about all the different things you do, but something that you've branched out into is writing. And I just mentioned Young Writer. You do write a column for our other magazine, Young Writer. And then of course you have the Starlight Stables Gang book series. So what has that been like to take those projects on and kind of connect with your audience through that different avenue?
I've really enjoyed it. So something that not many people might know is that I'm actually dyslexic. So my love for reading and writing definitely came slightly later in life. And one of the reasons why I decided to create the Starlight Stables Gang and my children's book series is because, number one, I wanted to try and get more people into reading, and also I wanted people who read the books to maybe get into horses. So they are written alongside with my co-author Joe, who very kindly helped me put a lot of my ideas to paper and help me with my dyslexia as well. But also it was really nice because she's from a non-horsey background, so being able to write it with someone who doesn't actually know like a load about horses, she was brilliant at putting certain terminology that as a horse person, I know what a bridle is. But if you're not horsey, then you might not know, or not an equestrian, you might not know what that is. And she really helped me explain it in a brilliant way where hopefully there will be lots of children that read these books that don't know anything about horses. Maybe they just love animals and they pick it up, and maybe that gets them into the sport. And as I said before, I really want the sport to try and be more accessible and get more young people into it. And also one of the reasons why I wanted to write this book was because I felt like when I was growing up, reading horse books or trying to read horse books not very well with my dyslexia, a lot of them were all about competition, all about being the best, all about girls that have their own horses and that kind of thing, which I understand isn't a reality for a lot of people. So that's why I decided to make the Starlight Stables Gang. It's a group of friends that all come from very different backgrounds, and they kind of come together with this common love of horses. And not everyone in the book like owns their own horse, that kind of thing. A lot of them are riding lesson ponies. And I guess I just wanted to try and show that whoever you are, whatever age you are, you can get into horses in some way or another. So yeah, that's kind of the dream. So that's how the Starlight Stables Gang kind of came along, and a lot of the stories are kind of inspired by my childhood and doing pony club, and lots of stories and people that I've met along the way. So I feel very, very grateful that we're on to book 4 now. Book 4 comes out in October, which is really, really exciting, which is all going to be about one of the characters, Daniel. So keep an eye out for that. I'm excited for people to read it and hopefully like it. So
yeah, that's very soon. Yeah, and I love that approach because just like we've talked about, not everybody comes from a competition mindset, and certainly not everybody can afford to own a horse or have much access to them. And I think reading is such a great way for anyone, but especially young kids to kind of get that horse fix, if you will.
Definitely. And the amount of parents that have come up to me and said, my child has never read a book this quickly or has never actually read a book like outside of school on their own in their free time. And that just makes me really happy that there are kids that are getting into not only courses, but also getting into reading because of my books as well.
Absolutely. I love that. So in addition to, obviously equestrian content is your main thing, but you also share things like fashion and fitness and DIY projects, of course. So what has it kind of been like to have your content evolve like that over the years and how do you see it continuing to evolve?
So I just want to start off by saying my content will forever always like involve horses in some
Yes.
way because I've had some because at the end of the day, like my channel is like not only about the horses but also about my life, and a big part of my life is the horses. I guess I kind of have dipped my toe in the water, what's the phrase, in like a few different other sectors as well, because I kind of came to the conclusion that there are so many horse people out there, and the only way to like grow the channel and get more people hearing about horses is by doing things in other industries and other sectors, if that's fashion or beauty or fitness. And at the end of the day, like especially fitness as well, like being a horse rider, you've got to have some sort of level of fitness, like it is a sport. So I found that's been really good fun. Also, yeah, doing lots of other little bits and pieces that I'm also passionate about. Again, I've been doing this for almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
So I think it's always fun I always say you need to slowly adapt when it comes to social media.
Yes.
But because if you do the same thing all the time, then it's going to get stale, it's going to get boring. But also if you do something completely different, your audience is going to be like, wait a second, I didn't sign up for this. So I've been slowly doing like a few different like vlogs and like adding like a few different parts of my life that I find fun and interesting, and it's been really lovely to see people have found that fun and interesting as well. But yes, at the end of the day, my main focus with my content will forever be about horses because they're a huge part of my life. So
Absolutely. And I feel like you said, a lot of those things like fitness especially still ties back into it in
yeah,
one way or another. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So two more questions from me before we head to the audience Q&A portion. The first being if you had any piece of advice that you could give to any younger equestrians or maybe even to aspiring content creators, what would you give them?
I always like to say no question is a silly question. I think a lot of the time, if you're unsure about something, because especially in the horse world, there are so many different ways to do different things. And you might have one person saying this thing, another person saying another thing. And I always find it really interesting to kind of like hear people's reasonings behind different things. So I always say no question is a silly question because it's always better to ask how to do something than to do something wrong and make a fool of yourself. But also, other piece of advice I'd say is be yourself, because there are so many different people out there when it comes to social media that try to be somebody else or try to be or like try and copy somebody. Like be original and be yourself, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to be somebody else, then people can kind of see that and see you being fake. So yeah, and just have fun because that's what it's all about.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, there's only one you, so be yourself. Yeah. And then the last thing, I know you just mentioned that the next book is coming out in October, but other than that, do you have any ongoing or upcoming projects or things that you would like to share?
I hate being that person. I do have a few, but I can't tell you their secret
I get
projects.
it.
But yeah, I'm hopefully going to get back jumping with Joey again with filming us trying working equitation this week. So fingers crossed that goes well. So yeah, I have lots of fun content planned for the rest of the year, and of course have my book tour, and then yeah, before I know it, it'll be the indoor season, and I'll be doing all the indoor horse shows as well. So a busy year ahead.
Absolutely. Okay, well, great. We'll move into the audience Q&A portion. Like I said, we had a few that were submitted prior to the webinar, and then you guys are already sending some in on here, and you can continue to do that. We'll get as many as we can. So Grace wants to know if social media weren't your career, what do you think you'd be doing or you would like to do?
Oh, I think it would always involve kind of animals or horses somehow. So in my last 2 years of education, I was mainly kind of like science based. So I did biology and chemistry because I actually really wanted to be a vet. And I actually used to work at a local vet's practice as a kennel girl in my last 2 years of education. So that job basically, I was a cleaner at a vet's practice, but as you can imagine, there were a lot of not so nice things that I was cleaning up. So it was quite a dirty job, but I really enjoyed doing that. I think actually I would have probably gone on to be a vet physio. I think at the end of the day, I kind of realized there's a lot of responsibility in being a vet. And I think I decided, you know what, something maybe that's a little bit less high stress, let's just say that. So I actually looked into doing a physio degree and then doing an equine physio degree afterwards. So probably, yeah, an equine physio, which is a little bit different. But now if you ask me that question, I would probably say I'm very, very lucky that social media has opened so many doors to me and has given me so many different transferable skills that I could go into lots of different industries, if that's video editing, presenting, running a business. So yeah, I would probably maybe say something in media now if it was. Yeah, but so yeah, a little bit different.
Still related to horses, most likely.
Oh, yeah,
so yeah. Mia's question is, this is interesting. How did the introduction of short form videos like Reels and TikToks change your job after focusing on YouTube for so long?
If I'm completely honest, it's made my life more difficult, which some people will be surprised about, because it's just another thing that is added to kind of my to-do list. I'm very much a long format person. I feel like you can tell more of a story, you can get your message across, and also just, I don't know, my brain is happier watching long format. I feel like with short format, it's so quick and it's over before you know it. And I don't know, long format, you can form more of a relationship with somebody, and I always feel like it's a little bit more like having a FaceTime with a friend. So I would say long format is my favorite. I do short format, don't get me wrong, I still really enjoy that as well, but it's just a different sort of passion, I'd say. Yeah, my heart is in more format, but short format is like a little bit of fun and helps promote my other videos and that kind of thing. And I mean, there's some really fun trends and funny videos they made over with the horses.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I would say, the social media has changed a lot over the last couple of years with the introduction of short format. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love doing my podcast so much as well, because that's also long format as well. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that answers. I think that's answered your question.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Lauren's question is, since you always ask pro writers this, if you could go back and redo one round or class, what would it be?
Yeah, so I had this question where I often ask people, I think it's a little bit of almost like a psychology question, because people either say around that they messed up, that they would want to do better, or they say around where they did really well and they would want to relive that.
Sure.
So part of me wants to say, the first Pony Club show I did with Casper, where it went well, where maybe not the warm-up, because in the warm-up I fell off twice, which isn't great, because Casper, bless him, he was always so anxious in the warm-up because there were so many horses around him, and I'm pretty sure at his previous home he was bullied by quite a lot of other horses. So he's always been a little bit nervous with the new horses. But once we were in that arena, he absolutely went for it, was smiling ear to ear, had the best time, and we went clear with the fastest time and managed to secure our team in second. And I remember just being so proud of him, because we'd had quite a rocky start at the beginning of our journey, and it kind of felt like all of my hard work had paid off. So I would probably say that. Or I would say, if it could be like a ride that wasn't a competition, then I'd probably say just to be able to ride Mickey again when I was a kid. So Mickey, sadly, we don't have anymore. He passed away back in December. And I would say to be able to he was such an honest pony. I would actually ride him tackless quite often, just out in the field, and just like zoom around on him. So I'd probably say if I could go back and do any ride, it would be that ride with him.
Oh, yeah. Actually, her next question is if you had a favorite memory with Mickey that you would like to share.
Oh, I would probably say, yeah, probably that one.
Yeah.
Just spending time with him more. The amount of times like in the morning, like he wasn't really much of a morning person where he would like lie down in the stable and I would go lie down next to him and he would like snuggle his head into me and sometimes even fall back asleep, like with
Yeah.
his head like on my lap. So probably, yeah, something like
Huh.
that. I would love to do that again.
That's so sweet. Yeah. Isley's question is who is your role model or who was your childhood role model?
Oh, that's a really tricky one because I guess like I grew up watching like a bit of social media and things like that, but honestly, I would probably have to say my parents, like which is I know like a bit cliche, but I would yeah, they've given me so much good advice over the years and I've always kind of really looked up to them. So yeah, probably them. Or I would say
Absolutely.
like there were a lot of older girls at Pony Club that were incredible riders that I would look up to. I remember at Pony Club camp looking at all the like older girls, and there was this one tire cross country fence. It was like this big fence made out of tires, and I always remember looking at the older girls jumping those big fences and be like, one day if I can jump those jumps, then I'll be like an incredible rider. And I say to say I have jumped that jump since now I'm
Love
older,
it.
but I remember that always being like a big thing for me. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Eve said she would like to ask, how do you come up with all of the amazing ideas for your videos?
Oh, I guess like some of them, oh, it's tricky because yeah, I guess I've been making videos for almost 10 years and I've been doing at least one video a week. So a lot of the time it's kind of inspired by just what I'm doing with the horses. So I mean, I really don't want to make another Joey's gone to the hospital video, but a lot of the time it's just down to what my horses are doing, what I'm doing with them, our journey together. Also, like I'm very lucky that I get a lot of comments from people that like, oh, you should do this, or maybe this inspires this. Like I remember when the Barbie film came out, we actually dressed up my pony Mickey as a Barbie pony, and that was so much fun. So there are some definitely like wacky and wonderful ones that I've done over the years. But yeah, I'd say I get like a lot of different suggestions from people in the comments as well. I'm very lucky that we have such a lovely community. So yeah, sometimes it's from you guys. Sometimes my brain, I wake up one morning, I'm like, you know what, today could be fun. I'm gonna yeah dress the pony up. So
Yeah.
yeah, very different.
Or sometimes your horses give you an idea
Yeah,
based off what
sometimes
they're
they
doing.
do. They're like, oh, let's one day they might be really dirty. I'm like, you know what? Today's a great day to do a how to clean a pony video.
Yes, yes, for sure. This question does not have a name, it looks like, but she said that they just want to say that you're their favorite content creator, and their question is, what is your favorite trip or horse show with your dad, who they said must say is a legend for his recent voiceover video?
Oh yes. So my dad recently, as a one of my main videos on YouTube, because there's kind of like a trend where in the beauty industry where people do their makeup and then they get like their boyfriend to do the voiceover and talk about like what products they're using and that kind of thing. And it's
Yeah.
always like a little bit wrong or incorrect. So I thought, how can I put a horsey twist? And I was like, perfect. I'll get my dad to do a voiceover of my riding routine. And oh my gosh, you should have seen my face when I was watching that back for the first time. I was laughing so much. But yeah, sorry, what was the favorite memory or horse show? Oh, honestly, oh, I remember one of this is quite a funny story. So it was one of my first international events. We were doing this piece to camera. When my dad was with the camera, he was walking backwards. I was talking to the microphone, and what I didn't realize because I was so focused on what I was saying, and my dad was so focused on filming me that he accidentally walked backwards into the jump. So this was actually we were doing a like a course walk, and he
Mm.
walked backwards into the jump, and the whole jump fell down and like everyone like stared at us like silence and we were like, oh my goodness, what have we done? And then these people came running over and we were like, wait a second, in like 5 minutes time horses are going to go around and hope, well, some of them will knock them down, hopefully they won't knock them down, but some horses will go and knock this jump down. So actually it's not the end of the world, guys, it's okay. But that was very embarrassing, so that has
As soon as you said he was walking backwards, I was like, oh no.
yeah, something's going to go wrong.
Right. Oh my goodness. I think you get this question a lot, but Maddie's question is, do you intentionally own all gray horses?
No, and each time I say I'm never gonna get a grey again. I'm never gonna get a grey. But for some reason, they're just drawn to me. So I don't know why that is. Like with Joey, with him, like I've always come up with an excuse. Like Casper, it was just budget reasons. He was the only horse that we could basically afford. With Joey, he was very, very dark when we first got him. So I was like, hopefully it'll be less cleaning and hopefully he just won't lighten up very quickly. And then with Duke, I was like, I said I wouldn't get another one, but because he's so small, there's not really much to clean. So that's what I told myself. That and me and my dad absolutely fell in love with him, and he needed a home. Like what you know, and we had a spare stables. So what can you say? But next time, it won't be a grey. Please not be a grey. So we will see. I will probably be eating my words saying that, but right. I've done my service when it comes to cleaning grey. It definitely was not on purpose.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of times they pick you, but hopefully the next one that picks you is a little easier to keep clean.
I would like a bay, please. Nice and easy to clean.
Yes, yes. Let's see. Taylor wants to know if you could describe each of your horses with just one word, what would they be?
Oh, okay. I would say Casper, introvert. Joey, extrovert. Duke, mischievous.
Love it.
Mischievous.
Love it.
Yeah. That sums them up quite well.
Yes, yes. Caitlin's question is, what has it been like dealing with Joey's injuries?
It has been tough and expensive and a lot of rehab. But at the end of the day, like Joey is my baby. Like I will do anything to make sure that he's happy, that he's healthy, that he's comfortable. We also now he goes out in the paddock with turnout boots on every single time. We wrap him up like bubble wrap because he is just so accident prone. But yes, so it's been a lot, but it's worth it, and he's feeling amazing now. He's sound, he's happy, he's healthy, he's having so much fun. Like his trot is looking so good after all of our dressage lessons as well. So it's been hard work and it's been expensive, but I'm just glad that he's happy and healthy, because with all of my horses, that is my main priority, that they are happy and healthy. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And like you said earlier, at the end of the day, if you're taking on any animal at all, it's your responsibility to
100%.
to give them that good life. And sometimes you get dealt some cards that are a little trickier than others, but yeah. Evie, her question is, she said she had her first horse riding lesson last week and she's going back again this week, but the trot worried her a little. So any tips that you could share for building confidence?
That is so exciting. And yeah, best of luck with your equestrian journey, Evie. I would say if you're feeling a little bit nervous, just say that to your instructor, your trainer beforehand. I'm sure they get loads of people, especially if it's brand new to you. I think sometimes trainers or instructors, depending on the person, they can push people a little bit too fast, a little bit too quickly. So if you just say, hey, I'm feeling a little bit nervous about the trot today. It could just be as simple as having somebody run along beside you and just like help you with your position. Maybe it's like holding on to the saddle, or obviously I'm not there and I'm not in your lesson and I can't see you ride, but just say to your instructor, hey, I'm a little bit nervous about the trot, can you give me some pointers on things that maybe you find it a little bit bouncy or that kind of thing, or ways that I can maybe help with my balance, or I'm sure they can give you some pointers on how to make you feel more confident. But also just make sure you have fun. That's the main part. And I often find that things like this, if you really work yourself up and you get really worried or anxious beforehand, it's not going to make it better. Just remember that you're doing this because it's good fun, and that take everything at your own pace.
Yes, for sure. Another question related to your dad, Caitlin.
Oh my gosh.
She's wondering what your dad's favorite animal is and if it's a horse.
It has to be horses. No, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it is a horse. He's not right here now, but I'm pretty sure it would be horses. To be fair, the other day he came up to me and he said, because obviously he didn't come from a horsey family, and he just said, thank you for bringing horses into my life, Esme. So I think it probably is horses. He loves them as much as I do. Even though he doesn't ride, he definitely is a horse person now.
Yeah. Exactly. They've become as much a part of his life almost as they are yours at this point. So,
Definitely, yeah. Very, very
yeah.
lucky that he
And
helps me out
right.
with them as well. So
Yes, yes. And I know you mentioned like your parents are basically your role models and that it's like a family affair for you
yeah,
guys. And I think that's
yeah.
a really
We
special.
we always joke that Duke isn't my horse; he's my dad's horse. So he
I
takes
love
my little
it.
walk. It's very sweet.
Yes, yes. Lexi asked, what is a typical week like for you?
Oh, it depends on the week. So I would say about once a week, I'm normally somewhere up and down the country, if that's a book signing, a horse show that I'm working at, or if I'm filming, trying like I have a little series on my channel called Challenge Esme where I try different equestrian disciplines or ride different horses or at a content creator event or something like that. So I'd say probably I try and stick it to once a week max, that I have like a day where I'm out of office in, you could kind of say. But most weeks I actually have, right next to me over here, I'm a very organized person. I have like a whole diary. I plan my whole week on a Monday. So I plan when I'm going to record my podcast. So normally once a week I record my podcast. I film at least one YouTube video a week. Often there's some like brand work that comes through. So for example, this week's been a busy week because the new Lemure colors are out. So we've been busy filming those. So I kind of write down all the things that I need to get done that week, kind of put it across the week. Also, the first thing that I normally do is check the weather, which
Yes.
some people, yeah, when you're working outside, it's important. So if it's a rainy day, then that will normally be the day that I record the podcast. If it's a sunny day, then that'll be the day that I'm often outside filming with the horses. So on the day where I'm kind of out of office or away, that's often the day that the horses have like their rest day or have their day off. But often I try to ride both horses. Casper a little bit less now, he's getting older. But Joey, I try to ride him 5-6 times a week, and then Casper maybe more, about 4 times a week. So yeah, I'm a very organized person. There's a lot of planning that goes into it. But yeah, each day is slightly different, but depending on if it's a filming day or an editing day. But a lot of the time I'm either sat here at this desk editing or out with the horses filming. So I would say that's pretty much my week. I try and keep Sundays as my day off. Sometimes I'm working at horse shows on a Sunday, so I'll then swap a normal day of the week. I try and have downtime, and I always try and have like my evenings as time off as well. So I try to be very good. As soon as I leave the office, I don't go on social media at all. I have like I don't know if anybody else has the focuses on their iPhone, but I have a thing where I have one focus where it's like my work one, which has social media, and then I turn my focus off and like no looking at social media, no looking at emails, try and step away, which people who own their own business will know that it's never quite that simple. There's always something to be done or work to be done, but I try and have that downtime in the evening. But yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially when you work in social media and in this digital age where things are happening all the time. It's really important to find that balance so that way you don't get burnout and things like that and still have some time for yourself. So I think that's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, I also spend a lot of time looking at screens as well in my job. So when I go home,
Yeah.
I'm reading a book, out in the garden, going for a run, that kind of thing. So I do try and like limit my screen time.
Absolutely. I'm sure your eyes appreciate that break
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
Yes, yes. I think we have time for one more question. Kim asked, can you give us some hints about maybe any upcoming events you'll be attending and if you know when you'll be in North America next?
Oh, I'm gonna try and hopefully come back to North America at some time next year. It's not confirmed yet, but we will see. We will see. But as soon as I know any of my meet and greets or book signings, they actually go straight onto my website, thisesme.com. We have a little tab and it says meetups, I'm pretty sure. And if you click on that, it has all of the dates where I am. That's 100% confirmed. There's a few more that I need to add where we're just waiting for the links for my book tour. But yes, if you go on there, all of the ones on the website are 100% confirmed. It has all the information of where it will be, what time, what tickets you need. So yeah, that is my best advice. Go to my website, thisesme.com.
Perfect. Well, I think that's all we have time for, but thank you everybody for your questions. And Esme, of course, thank you so much for your time. It's been so great
Oh, thank
chatting
you
with
so much for
you.
having me. I've had so much fun like chatting away, answering your guys' questions. And yeah, I always say these kind of things. Feels like I'm on a friend feels like I'm with a friend on FaceTime. So
Yes,
yeah, thank you so much for having
absolutely.
me. I'm very honored to be part of this webinar.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. So thank you so much and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, you too. See you later, everybody. Thanks for
Bye,
joining.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.